game review for, if you haven't guessed it,
Fire Emblem Awakening.
Oh my god! Have you played this game? Have you beaten the game? I haven't.
I have. And it's pretty much kind of
It's Final Fantasy Tactics.
I've never played Final Fantasy Tactics. This is the first Fire Emblem game I've ever played.
It is the first for me too.
And it was pretty great. Actually, was really obsessed with the demo way before I could actually afford the game.
Oh god, I played that demo so many times.
And you have to admit, the fact that it's still about, at the cheapest new, $37 on Amazon speaks to its merit.
Which makes it basically a Pokemon game.
It's a must-have for the 3DS. Must-have.
Which means if you find it cheaper than like $30,
get it.
I mean, you should.
But there's at least I want to say $30 of DLC.
There is, which I have bought none of.
Neither have I. Because it's DLC and they don't have like Game of the Year edition that has all of it put in there, so I'm really not interested so much.
And I don't buy DLC unless the game is like, unless the extra added shit doesn't feel like they could have just included it. Like,
costumes.
Side note, Phoenix Wright Dual Destinies. The DLC is extra costumes and in the same bundle the next case, which is the first case.
Also, it's
literally like a prequel. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it's just one case, and it's a prequel, and it's not that expensive. So that's why that got a pass for me. But Fire Emblem, on the other hand, the DLC is too plentiful for it to be like all afterthought.
Yeah, there's like I think there's at least 10 different things. Regardless, though, it is a great game. A lot of people have already said that it is technically old at this point, but I think it's relevant in saying that. And I guess we'll include a link in the description. Did You Know Gaming actually had an episode where they mentioned that the Fire Emblem team didn't think that they were going to be making any more Fire Emblem games. They thought it was going to die out. So they put as much into Fire Emblem Awakening as they could. It was their Final Fantasy, so to speak. And so it's just chock full of all this crazy stuff that hasn't been in other Fire Emblem games. So it's definitely a really great entry for new players, I will definitely say.
Which is very important because...
especially for Western audiences.
When your franchise is starting to die, the best thing you can do is make it accessible for everyone else. Think Resident Evil. It was dying because fuck Resident Evil. But then they made it into a bro game. All of a sudden, it's up there with Call of Duty. Oh yeah!
Oh, please. Put me in my misery. If you've never played Final Fantasy Tactics and you've never seen what's that thing called, like a let's play of this kind of genre game, it is an RPG, but it's strategic. You're not running into random battles. You see enemies on the battlefield top down, and you engage basically unit to unit, and it can be a long drawn out battle, and you can flank. You can just go in guns blazing.
Generally, it's a strategy RPG.
Something that people may know of that's a little similar is maybe Valkyria Chronicles. I know they had a entry on the PS3 where it was literally a fucking strategy game, but it was like World War II.
Think tower defense.
Basically.
Only you are your own tower. You need to not all die, or the main characters needs to not die.
But I will mention that compared to other Fire Emblem games, when you engage with units, it's a little bit more lively. And that's what will draw you to the game particularly, because you can actually shorten or completely eliminate the little cutscenes they put for the units fighting, because you generally have a forecast of how the battle might turn out. But, there's a luck stat and things might turn out differently than you think.
But you can fast forward through that, so you're not sitting through on repeat 12 times, and it's like, okay, this was cool the first 4. Now it's kind of like, can I skip this? No.
Yeah, but if you're really into anime and you really like the cinematic element of video games, you're probably not gonna completely eliminate. You might just fast forward a bit, and you can also look at it in different
viewpoint.
Yeah. First person, you have this kind of little cinematic view, and then you have straight It looks just like a fighting game except without the energy bars, basically.
Which is amazing. Also, the reason you don't want to skip is because there's secondary dialogue that you can actually skip. It's like, no, we will not make you do anything extra. This dialogue is to help you get an extra character. Well, you didn't want to hear the dialogue? You don't get this character.
Yeah, it really tailors itself to the involvement you want. If you just want a strategy game, a strategy RPG, you can do that. You don't have to care about any of the fucking characters. You don't care about the story. But if you do happen to want to, it's there, and it's strong, and it's well written.
It's amazing. Oh, and then, they had the wedding and the baby. Oh, God, I keep...
Well, there is a... not really, kind of a mild spoiler. There is a... there's a system in the game whereas your units, as they fight together, can have friendships.
And build bonds.
And if they happen to be of the opposite gender, certain characters can get married to each other. And not only do they have even more stat bonuses when they fight against other units, eventually they have a kid, and that kid joins your unit. And they, almost like genetics, get the skills from both parents. It's actually very important. Very mid to late game. It's very important. And it's amazing. Now,
mind you, I never made it past the mid game. Not because the game isn't great.
I've beaten it twice.
It's a time sink. And it's like around the time that I was playing Fire Emblem, my group started playing Pokemon competitively. And it's like, I gotta choose.
Time sinks.
Do I really want to sink that much time in this single player game?
Yes, that is also something to mention. It's a very good single player experience. There is a multiplayer mode, but it's really... like
it was added last minute. It was like slapped on.
You literally won't enjoy it unless you're already, if you're like really nerding out with whoever you're playing with as you're playing and talking about the differences and how you developed your characters and stuff.
Then you'll love it.
Then you'll love it. It's a nice distraction, but at the end of the day, the single player is the main focus, and if you can't live multiplayer in this game like you can other games, like Smash Brothers.
But Smash Brothers didn't have a story mode. It had a campaign where you went and you unlocked characters. Don't front.
Well, I'm saying,
totally
I'm trying to compare it to something that's on the platform that people can compare it to, because I know a lot of people who bought Smash Brothers, the new Smash Brothers, had on 3DS, and they're just all at work like, having the circle game thingy, and people were really into it, and you're just like, oh man, do you have your DS on you? I'm gonna smash you right now, But it's like Fire Emblem. You walk into someone who's playing Fire Emblem, like, oh man, how'd you develop your characters? It's not like, let's play right now. It's like, man, like, how was our gameplay experience different?
Conversation about like how we can like maximize the game. Did you know this is how you get this character? I didn't know that. Here you go. Did you look it up online? Nah, I don't go online. I don't want any extra spoilers. I haven't beaten the game the first time yet. Oh damn. That's Fire Emblem.
Basically Fire Emblem. And there's a lot of exponential missions that are not exactly they're late game but not post game. And you can do them to add extra characters to your ranks. People like Marth. And you can, some of them you can have babies with. You can have babies. Oh yes, that's also good. For the Tumblr community, if you also haven't heard of this game, you can ship whoever you want.
That's of the opposite gender.
Yeah. Although, I will mention the Fire Emblem Fates that comes out on the 19th actually has same sex romances. Although, I will mention that Nintendo already mentioned that they are, what's that thing called they always do? Censoring the game. So that one character,
to be fair,
doesn't do a certain thing because it's
date rape. Basically,
it's not really date rape.
They are censoring it because it is date rape.
They feel like it's,
hey, I'm gonna magically change your perception so you'll fall in love with me. That sounds like alcohol and a couple pills. All of a sudden, it's like, hey, we should fuck. Oh my god! And now you love me.
But then they say that it's just like for Japanese audiences will understand it. So I think that if you come at it from that perspective, you make it seem like Japanese people are okay with date rape, and I don't think that's the message they're trying to send.
To be fair, though, to be absolutely fair, I don't see too many incest and incestual things in American culture. But if I go on the line and you go to Japan, you got siblings going at it. So I'm not saying that they all are into that. It's just it's more accepted to have that sort of thing in media.
But that's a totally different thing.
It's taboo.
Incest, and date rape are
things that are taboo.
It's not the same sport.
Wait,
dude, it's not even the same ballpark.
Wait. Let's talk about the game.
Well, right.
Anyway, so this
You're gonna put like 40 hours into this fucking game.
No, not even 70, because you can't play it once.
Because you're gonna want to pair different characters with different characters and see what type of babies they make. Although all the babies are the same, depending on the mother. But sometimes the hair color will be different, and like I said, how you develop them, their skills, also different.
Some of the dialogue is different.
Oh yeah, it gives it different context, but sometimes it just doesn't match, especially. But I will mention in terms of that kind of like a replayability, in terms of that, it's much better than certain games that give you the freedom of choice between where the story is going, because the story is still set on rails, but how people develop is completely technically up to you, and your OTP or your, I guess, FOTP is like totally relevant, and you can develop some characters. And also, if you didn't know this about Fire Emblem, characters can die and they're dead.
No, that's classic mode. There's two modes. There's
which they just added for this version,
which is great, right? That's the balls to the wall, I don't care what happens, and my character's all coming back anyway. And then there's classic mode, which will make you cry because then you got attached. But in order to win the battle, as you already sunk like 12, sometimes 30 minutes into, you probably need to just kill off this character. Let luck decide. But then it's like, I've been developing this character. This character got bonds. It's almost ready to have babies.
So then 8% of the time, most players you'll talk to about Fire Emblem Awakening playing classic mode will literally say, hey, yeah, I just turned the system off and restarted that battle. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it kind of cheapens the game. Like, if you have the self-control to not restart and like have an actual classic playthrough, I commend you, and that's probably the best Fire Emblem experience you could ever have. But for me, like, I actually ended up I beat it twice, and then after that, I had 3 games pending, on different difficulties. On the hardest difficulty level, I had it on not classic mode, which means my characters couldn't die. Only meaning that if they died in battle, they were off the board, but they didn't die for the rest of the game, meaning they couldn't have babies and stuff, which is really just natural selection.
Anyway, what we're saying is if you haven't played this game, it's amazing. But we're talking about it because the sequels are coming out, which
and
of course,
we're getting them.
Of course, we're going to do an unboxing of the 3DS, because we got that. And then, of course, both the games, which we got physical copies of, because we're going to swap them.
And the GameStop bonuses.
Woo! Keychains! Anyway, so look out for that. The moment it drops and we get the games, we're going to do a video of our first reactions to it. And then we'll do regular updates on how we're enjoying the game, what to look out for in the game, things that we think are kind of shaky and whatnot. So.
Oh, damn, that's up with localization.
I hope they do.
You hope they do?
I hope they do. It's going to be funny.
All your feels belong to
funny.
us.
Mm-hmm. All of them. It is a tot. On that note. Peace out, nerds.